the 2024 season comes along with new hopes as Ferrari plans to fight back for a championship. Is Charles coming back with the 2022 form? Are Tifosis finally getting back their happiness? What are the realistic chances of winning the championship next year? After undeserving P3 in the 2023 season, Fred Vasseur and company aim for battle at the front along with brutal driver Charles Leclerc. As Red Bull Racing proves to be top of the game in every aspect from race pace to pit stops and flawless strategy, the Maranello-based team has to step up in every field to challenge top teams. After almost 15 years without glory, legendary team Ferrari has come a long way since the F1 started itself. A famous car manufacturer, getting whipped out by an energy drink company with a massive 454 points in constructors is something to think about. Since the beginning of new regulations, Scuderia came up with a rocket ship of a car along with Mattia Binotto, which secured their 1-2 in Bahrain at the first race itself. This was Ferrari's amazing result in a long time, which built up Tifosi's hope to be shattered later on the season by Verstappen. However, FIA's new mid-season regulations screwed up Ferrari after their low ride height was removed and messed up the whole characteristics of the car. So, what's next for them? As new management starts to take shape at Scuderia, expectations are always high at this team, and along with huge competition, it's harder to achieve every year. Along with new regulations, Ferrari was one to watch out for after being the only team to challenge Red Bull in 2022/2023, but Verstappen and Newey had other plans that no one had expected. Therefore, Fred has great faith in the team for 2024 as the team tries to learn from past races on a track, and rather than bringing the upgrades to work, Ferrari has adopted Red Bull and Mercedes' ways of working. They are trying to understand cars and work accordingly on weak parts, and drivers have been more vocal than in recent years about the car feedback, which was barely a case in last years. The new team principal, Fred, has been trying all possible steps to get the team back in 2024 as in Schumacher's glory days. In his own words, "We just have to be focused on what we are doing and not think about the outcome of the championship before it is won or to look at the prize-giving ceremony before Bahrain." Ferrari's head of chassis area Enrico Cardile has said the main weakness is the car's aerodynamic characteristics and emphatically confirmed that significant changes will be made, including core underlying parts of the design. Thus, in his own words, "We know what we have to do. It's a matter of doing it, it's a matter of finding the right contents of the car, the right architecture of the car to achieve the targets." Comment down your thoughts on this. Are they back, or it's Delialu again? We are kicking off the 2024 season with no driver change in a long time, but this doesn't stop us from the fact that Charles has signed a new contract with Scuderia for a whopping amount of $50 million per year until 2029, yes, you heard that right, 2029. As for the second driver Carlos Sainz, things have not been looking good with the Italian team as the Spaniard aims to be the number one driver in the best team. Therefore, this puts him at a great chance of grabbing an Audi seat in 2026, as Sainz and his family have a greater connection with the team through his father himself. Ferrari taking this step seems pretty possible shortly, as the team has great faith in Leclerc and Alex Albon has been a potential candidate for Sainz' replacement. As Ferrari continues their development program more focused on Charles's driving style, this seems the best option for all drivers in my personal opinion. Scuderia had a disappointing end to the season after missing out on P2 only by 3 points to Mercedes-AMG in a nail-biting race finish after Charles Leclerc's masterclass to let Sergio Perez pass, all to be taken away by 5-second time penalty. As Mercedes came up with the same zero-side pod W14 this season, they had pretty unreliable according to their statements. W14 didn't live up to expectations as there were unusual issues without warnings, which have barely been the case for 8-time consecutive Constructors winners. Despite Hamilton's masterclass for pole in Hungary along few lucky moments in the season and the sheer consistency of Sir Lewis bought up a pretty decent fight for P2 in Constructors. McLaren was the team to applaud as they made a massive comeback to the season after disappointing P17 and P20 finishes in the first race and until Silverstone. Aston Martin was the best surprise of the season, and Alonso and the team dragged that car to maximum potential, which has always been the case for Spaniard. But what seems to be the real problem at Ferrari? Being the most successful team in the history of F1 itself, Flying Horse has been staying back foot since their last world champion Kimi Räikkönen. While having the potential to bring all top talents and engineers to the team, Scuderia still manages to mess up their season every time, either with an unreliable car, worse strategy, or bad luck itself, which has been the case
If we can keep Bottas behind P1.
Obviously.
for Ferrari in recent times. Take the Las Vegas GP for example. Carlos lost out so much for technical faults on the racetrack. While Ferrari operates under full Italian management, Maranello has always been with the same executives from the Michael Schumacher era. Along with new regulations and new generation cars, one has to always adapt, improvise, and overcome to come out on top, but they have been lacking massively in this area. Ferrari is less competent in case of holding each other accountable, which creates a persistent deep-rooted problem in a team. To be a successful team, one should celebrate a win or learn from their loss, but Ferrari can be seen repeating the same problem every race week. Take Leclerc's win ratio for example. Only if Ferrari could convert his pole to win with better strategies and management. Hopefully new team principal, Fred along with Charles shall bring Ferrari back to its glory days as Schumacher did with Jean Todt and company. As
Michael pass for the championship to Benz, please.
for my personal opinion, Ferrari operates fully on Italian executives and the F1 worldwide, so language could be a barrier here and there while relaying a piece of information. Ferrari bagged a whopping 406 points in the whole course of a season where both drivers contributed almost equally to this tally. It was not so glittery beginning to the season for Charles, as the car was merely developed in his driving style, as this was already a car concept from last year along with Mattia Binotto. However, being the only team to grasp a non-Red Bull win in the whole season, streets of Singapore shall not forget the Grand Prix of 2023 for a long time and Carlos Sainz's masterclass. A beast in Leclerc woke up after Carlos's win in Singapore as he went on to grab a podium in Austin, only to be disappointed by disqualification. But that didn't stop Monegasque, as he qualified in 5 out of the last 6 races in the front row under his capability. Halfway to the season with Charles underperforming, Tifosi was already starting to assume Carlos was a first driver, but kudos to Charles for making a great comeback and climbing up the points tables. Thus, if Charles gets a better car next year, we are in for a great title fight between Max and Charles, as we got a bit of a glimpse here and there last year. Comment down your thoughts on how this go in 2024. Thank you so much guys for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to F1 Gasm for more adrenaline-pumping F1 content. Let us know your thoughts on the race in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.
It's an ambitious plan.
Well, how hard can it be? Few tyres, bits of barrier.
And there's that's an excellent grandstand. All the resident, well, if there were any, could sit on those balconies and watch.
Bernie Eccleston will now be leaning forward in his chair going, good idea. This is the Madrid Grand Prix coming up.